it's like nobody can be the commander of your destiny but you.
Yeah.
Only if you let somebody else take over, but you always have the power and have the control.
In this video, I will be sharing the mental health lessons that I learned in 2021. I believe it is very important to share our experiences, detailing both the high moments and the low points. 2021 has been an overall great year for me, and I've learned a lot about myself and how my mind works. Considering that this year is coming to a close, I thought it would be best to summarize my findings and present them to you, so that maybe you can better understand yourself. Of course, all of these points are centered around how I think and act. I'm sure there is a lot of overlap between you and me, but not everything will be consistent between us, which is perfectly okay. Remember though, that your mental health journey is a lifelong process. You are never done learning about yourself. Today, I hope that I can help you a little in that journey. So let's get started. This is probably the most recent lesson that I have learned, and I am so excited to share it with you because it has done so much for me in such a short amount of time. In order to explain how I found the solution, I first need to talk about the issue I was having. Especially over the past few months, I had been struggling with falling asleep. More specifically, I was having trouble with not thinking negative thoughts before bed. Whether it was getting frustrated about something that happened that day, or stressing out about the future, I was going to sleep in a poor mental state, and unfortunately, that instability would transfer to the next morning when I woke up. I felt stuck in place, like I couldn't make long-term progress on my mental health. However, once I started to think positively before bed, everything changed. You might think it's too simple to have huge effects, but trust me, it will. Once we start making a conscious effort to focus on the good in our lives, to think only about the positives that happened, we prepare ourselves to improve the next day and the day after that. I found that once I started thinking positively every day, I had more mental clarity throughout the next day. So I strongly advise you to give this a try. Before you go to sleep tonight, think about whatever makes you happy and see if it helps. It is very common for us to daydream, whether we're zoning out in class or losing focus on an assignment. Our mind is prone to wandering. At least for me, when I daydream, I regularly have the same fantasies replay over and over in my head. I finally realized that this habit is extremely detrimental to my mental health, and let me explain why. When we daydream or fantasize, we leave reality. We are still present to others, but on the inside, we are hiding in our minds. The consequence of this is what you probably expect. We become disconnected with the present moment, or worse, begin to hate it. We form an unhealthy attachment to these thoughts, and they make us think that our real lives aren't as good. Eventually, I realized that I needed to make a change, and I urge you to do the same if you daydream too much as well. Focus on what's real. If you feel yourself drifting off to think about fantasies, redirect your thoughts to what's in front of you. When you are consistently present, you give yourself a much better opportunity to make positive changes in your life. So practice it. While 2021 has been a good year of progress for me, that is not to say that I have been perfect in my improvement. There have been many times where I have fallen down before I could keep going on with my development. Mistakes are inevitable, but my issue was that I was being really hard on myself for it. Basically, I over-exaggerated what this mistake meant in my longer journey. In the moments after, say, falling back into that bad habit, I would think really negative thoughts, which obviously strained my mental health. If you are hard on yourself, like I was, I have some advice for you. Zoom out. After you make a mistake, don't look at it in the context of only the present, because then it will feel like a permanent failure. Zoom out and look at your life like a long timeline. This one mistake is just a blip on a much longer path to finding yourself. So don't be too hard on yourself for messing up. as long as you learn from the mistake, everything will be worth it. I would consider myself a pretty calm and laid back person, but there are definitely moments where I feel intense internal frustration or anger. In these emotional moments, I sometimes will unfortunately direct my negative feelings toward someone else. My mind makes me believe that this person is the source of my frustration, whether that be something they said or did. This only further intensifies my negativity, and for a long time, I had no idea how to solve this. It was just something I kept inside and dealt with. However, this all changed when I asked myself this question: what am I really mad at? And then it hit me. I'm really mad at myself. That person was just a wall my mind created to prevent me from realizing the truth. My anger is directed at myself. And while this might seem like an unfortunate conclusion, I think it's the complete opposite. It's the first step towards actually dealing with and overcoming these negative emotions. So the next time you are angry at someone or something, ask yourself to go deeper. You might realize that your source of frustration might just be about something you have not dealt with. At first, you might feel down because you must face this issue, but at the same time, it could be an excellent opportunity to finally solve it. The choice is up to you. At the end of 2020, Kid Cudi released the third installment of his Man on the Moon series, and the opening track of the album, Tequila Shots, is not only one of my favorite Kid Cudi songs, but it also has a very important message that has become all the more clear to me in 2021. The theme of the song is that the fight is never over, even after you have victories over your problems. And I want to contribute to that discussion by diving into these main two ideas. First, your mental challenges will never go away. You cannot expect to find a solution in which you never have another negative thought or another bad day. The true journey is the path to self-understanding, figuring out your triggers, your good and bad patterns. Learning how to live a fulfilling and happy life alongside your struggles is the true sign of success. The second truth is that there will always be a problem in your life from an external point of view. Whether it be the next essay or bill, there will always be some sort of challenge placed in front of you. The secret is not avoiding obstacles, but learning how to not let them ruin your day. If you follow what was said throughout this whole video, along with your own personal lessons, you will be prepared to take on any internal or external battle that comes your way.
I think that's important, in life to know who you are in order to progress, and that's what this album is about, self-reflection, and at the end just being, all right, it's a new day, it's morning, let me start right.
I want to repeat what I said in the very beginning. The journey toward mental stability is a lifelong process. The best plan of attack is simple. Ask a ton of internal questions. Through asking yourself questions, identify your areas of frustration or negativity, and retrace your steps to see how you reached this point. Figure out what state you are in today, and what kind of headspace you want to be in tomorrow. Then, make a plan to get there. If you have any questions or thoughts, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments. I would love to hear what you learned about mental health in 2021 as well. With that said, this has been Dark Horse, and I will see you in the next video.